Isabelle is a charming young French teenager enjoying a beachside vacation with her parents, her younger brother Victor, and some close family friends. Her parents have been divorced for 7 years, and Isabelle has been living with her mother and stepfather ever since. During lunch one day, Isabelle's mother casually asks her to invite her new friend Felix over sometime, but Isabelle dismisses the idea, explaining that she's only known him since the day before. Later, Victor becomes restless and begins exploring the house, curious about what everyone is up to. When he enters Isabelle's room, he unexpectedly finds her in an intimate moment of self-pleasure. Shocked and confused, Victor quickly retreats. The following morning, Isabelle and Victor head to the beach to soak up the sun. Felix soon joins them, and during their time together, he invites Isabelle to a party that evening. Excited, she accepts the invitation. That night, Isabelle prepares for the event and enlists Victor's help to distract their parents, allowing her to slip out unnoticed. At the party, Isabelle spends the evening with Felix, and the two share a romantic moment on the beach. Their connection deepens, and they end up making love under the moonlight. Afterward, Felix walks Isabelle home, and they part ways. Later, Victor confronts Isabelle in her room, asking about what happened earlier. Isabelle admits she slept with Felix but refuses to go into detail, instructing Victor to keep it a secret. The next day, Isabelle and her family return to the beach, joined once again by Felix. It becomes apparent to Felix that Isabelle doesn't harbor genuine feelings for him. That evening, the family gathers to celebrate Isabelle's 17th birthday with a joyful celebration. A few days later, the vacation comes to an end, and the family heads back home. While driving, Isabelle spots Felix from the car window, but chooses to ignore him entirely. In the subsequent scene, Isabelle is seen dressed elegantly, walking into a hotel. She enters room 695, where she meets an older gentleman named George. He apologizes for misleading her about his age on the website where they connected. Isabelle, who introduces herself as Leah and claims to be 20 years old, assures him that it doesn't bother her. They spend intimate time together, after which George pays Isabelle and she leaves. On her way home, Isabelle casually reads a book on the subway and arrives at her house as if nothing out of the ordinary happened. She stashes the money in her closet before heading for a shower. Later, Isabelle logs onto a website using her alias Leah and watches adult content. The next day at school, a poetry discussion leads to conversations about summer experiences. A classmate tells Isabelle about her sister's encounter with an older man who gave her a Prada bag in exchange for intimacy. Although shocked, Isabelle doesn't dwell on it for long. She receives another offer from a businessman willing to pay €300 for her company. That afternoon, Isabelle meets the man at a hotel, but the encounter takes a troubling turn when he refuses to pay the full amount. When Isabelle confronts him, he threatens to expose her secret to her family, leaving her no choice but to leave, frustrated and upset. Later, she receives a more lucrative offer of €500 from another client. This time, she meets the man in a parking lot and ensures there are no lies before proceeding. Satisfied with the transaction, Isabelle returns home, only to be seen by her stepfather while taking an unusually long shower. He mentions this to her mother, who brushes it off as women's business. One evening, Isabelle's mother invites her to the opera. Initially reluctant, Isabelle agrees after being persuaded to explore life at her age. At the theater, Isabelle spots George accompanied by a young woman. She also notices Peter, a family friend from their beach vacation, showing interest in her mother. During the performance, George texts Isabelle to arrange their next meeting. When they meet again, George opens up about the young woman at the opera, revealing that she's his estranged daughter. He's trying to repair their relationship. Their conversation turns intimate, and the encounter takes an unexpected turn when George suddenly dies, likely from an overdose of a stamina-boosting medication. Panicked, Isabelle flees the hotel without notifying anyone. At home, she tells her mother she slipped in the shower and hit her head. The next day, 2 police officers visit Isabelle's mother at work, revealing her daughter's secret double life. Shocked, her mother initially refuses to believe it, but photographic evidence leaves no room for doubt. The officers explain that Isabelle is considered a victim since she's underage and isn't facing legal consequences. They encourage her mother to investigate further. At home, Isabelle's mother searches her room and discovers the money and incriminating details on her laptop. When Isabelle returns from school, her mother confronts her. Isabelle admits to her activities but insists she has stopped. Her mother, distraught, blames herself and worries about Isabel's safety. Her stepfather tries to comfort her, saying Isabel's beauty makes her a target, but this only deepens her anguish. Isabel later recounts her experiences to the police, explaining that an older man approached her after school one day, offering money. Initially disgusted, she eventually grew accustomed to it. Despite warnings from the officer about the dangers, Isabel remains defiant. Her mother insists on therapy, though Isabel claims she doesn't need it. The family debates what to do with the money Isabel earned, with her mother suggesting donation. Isabel vehemently opposes the idea, asserting that she worked for it. The tension continues as Isabel's mother grows increasingly concerned. Despite this, Isabel begins attending therapy sessions, where she confesses feeling numb during her encounters. However, she admits to feeling some attachment to George and believes his death was her fault, breaking down in tears. As time passes, Isabel starts seeing her classmate Alex. They share romantic moments, but Isabel feels no real connection and eventually ends their relationship. Shortly after, she reactivates her secret phone and finds messages from potential clients, which make her smile. In a surprising twist, Isabel visits the same hotel where George passed away and meets his widow. The woman reveals she knows about Isabel's involvement with George and surprisingly thanks her for giving him happiness in his final moments. She gives Isabel €300 and invites her to the room where George died. Though the encounter is odd and emotional, Isabel gains some closure. The story concludes with Isabel reflecting on her experiences.